Okay, good evening. I apologize for the delay. Welcome to the December 4th meeting. If at this time we could all stand for the pledge. Sorry.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin our meeting, I have a presidential proclamation announcing the death of President George H.W. Bush that I would like to read to the public. From President Trump as follows. It is my sorrowful duty to announce officially the death of George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st President of the United States, on November 30th, 2018. President Bush led a great American life, one that combined and personified two of our nation's greatest virtues, an entrepreneurial spirit and a commitment to public service. Our country will greatly miss his inspiring example. On the day he turned 18, 6 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, George H.W. Bush volunteered for combat duty in the Second World War. The youngest aviator in United States naval history at the time, he flew 58 combat missions, including one in which, after taking enemy fire, he parachuted from his burning plane into the Pacific Ocean. After the war, he returned home and started a business. In his words, the big thing he learned from his endeavor was the satisfaction of creating jobs. The same unselfish spirit that motivated his business pursuits later inspired him to resume the public service he began as a young man. First as a member of Congress, then as the ambassador to the United Nations, Chief of the United States Liaison Office in China, Director of Central Intelligence, Vice President, and finally, President of the United States. George H.W. Bush guided our nation through the Cold War to its peaceful and victorious end and into the decades of prosperity that have followed. Through sound judgment, practical wisdom, and steady leadership, President Bush made safer the second half of a tumultuous and dangerous century. Even with all he accomplished in service to our nation, President Bush remained humble. He never believed that government, even when under his own leadership, could be the source of our nation's strength or its greatness. America, he rightly told us, is illuminated by 1,000 points of light: ethnic, religious, social, business, labor union, neighborhood, regional, and other organizations, all of them varied, voluntary, and unique, in which Americans serve Americans to build and maintain the greatest nation on the face of the earth. President Bush recognized that these communities of people are the true source of American strength and vitality. It is with great sadness that we mark the passing of one of America's greatest points of light, the death of President George H.W. Bush. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, by the authority vested in me by the Constitution and by the laws of the United States, in honor and in tribute to the memory of George H.W. Bush, and as an expression of public sorrow, do hereby direct that the flag of the United States be displayed at half-staff at the White House and on all public meetings and grounds, at all military posts and naval stations, and on all naval vessels of the federal government in the District of Columbia and throughout the United States and its territories and possessions for a period of 30 days from the day of his death. I also direct that, for the same length of time, the representatives of the United States in foreign countries shall make similar arrangements for the display of the flag at half-staff over their embassies, legations, consular offices, and other facilities abroad, including all military facilities and naval vessels and stations. I hereby order that suitable honors be rendered by units of the Armed Forces under orders of the Secretary of Defense. I do further appoint December 5th, 2018 as a national day of mourning throughout the United States. I call on the American people to assemble on that day in their respective places of worship, there to pay homage to the memory of President George H.W. Bush. I invite the people of the world who share our grief to join us in the solemn observance. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand this first day of December in the year of our Lord, 2018, and in the independence of the United States of America, 243rd. Donald J. Trump. I ask that we take a moment of silence. Thank you. I need, first order of business is the approval of the minutes of November 8th.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes for November 8th.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on them? Call the question?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Thank you. I need a motion to accept the minutes of November 20th.
I'll make the motion, we accept the minutes from November 20th.
I'll second.
Any discussion on those minutes?
No.
Call the question?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Thank you. Yeah,
You got that?
I have it. Okay. At our last meeting, we had accepted the resignation letter from Jennifer Hicks, our part-time building control clerk. Since that time, we have asked her to stay for one additional week. She's agreed to do that, so the first order of business here would be to rescind the resignation. So I would like to read that we resolve as the Board of Trustees to hereby rescind the resignation of Jennifer Hicks that was approved by the board at the November 20 meeting. I need someone to make a motion.
I'll make the motion that we rescind.
I'll second.
Any question, discussion? Call the question?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried, thank you. Following that, resolved that the board accept the resignation letter from Jennifer Hicks with the effective date of 12/7/2018.
I'll make the motion, we accept the new letter of resignation dated, what was it, the 17th of December?
12/7.
December 7th,
Yes.
2018.
I'll second.
Call the question?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Next, the appointment of part-time account clerk typist Aileen Ryan. Resolved that the Board of Trustees appoint Aileen Ryan to the part-time position of account clerk typist retroactive to 11/26/18 at an hourly salary of $20 per hour. Ms. Ryan will fill a vacancy created by the resignation of Jennifer Hicks. Ms. Ryan's part-time hours will be 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and will work out of the DPW office located at 124 Maple Avenue. Is it 124 or 127?
124. Mm-hmm.
I need someone to make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Call the question?
Aye.
Aye, so carried, thank you. Okay, this is a continuation of a request from a commercial account, number 222. Prior to this meeting, November 20th meeting, there was a letter received by this account located at 400 Route 17M, store number 12. They had requested a $293.85 penalty abatement for non-payment of their August 2018 water bill. The owner had claimed that that they have mailed a payment in for that August 2018 bill in the amount of $979.50, but to date, the village has not received it. I think you had tabled it initially?
I did indeed table
So
it.
can you-
Yes,
can you just-
so I had asked that it be tabled because I was concerned that there were no leaks. I wanted Will to go check it. He did confirm there are no leaks. We still haven't received the original payment, from what I understand, or any, Kim? No, the original payment that they had said they sent? Oh, no. Right. So I'm going to, no, it is now. Yes, it's paid in full now. Right, correct. So I'm going to make the motion that we deny the credit.
Any further discussion?
I'll second. It's kind of what we've been having happen lately, right?
Any further question?
Okay, call the question?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Okay, we have an event application in front of us from the Monroe Art League. An event application was submitted by John Battaglia, a member of the Monroe Art League, to host a holiday art exhibit on December 15th and 16th. Just take a note of that, please.
Yep.
2018, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The holiday art exhibit will be held on the first floor of this boardroom at Village Hall, located at 7 Stage Road, and will display and sell the artwork of the members of the Monroe Art League. Mayor Dwyer, myself, will be present to open and close the building each day, as well as be in attendance during the event. The approval is to be considered, would be contingent upon the signature of the hold harmless agreement, which I understand was done. And the second piece was the approval of the building department, which I understand when the map is filed of this room, denoting the areas, tomorrow, he'll also approve as well. The third piece was the police department. They came and met with the applicant this morning and confirmed what their concerns were. They were addressed, and they're in compliance and have approved. So I resolve that the Board of Trustees approve the event application submitted by John Battaglia, a member of the Monroe Art League, to hold a holiday art festa exhibit in the first floor boardroom of Village Hall on December 15th and 16th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The approval is contingent upon the building department's approval. I need someone to make a
I'll make the
motion.
motion that we accept it.
I'll second.
Call the question?
Aye.
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 Aye, so carried. Thank you, John. Okay, next order of business is a order account 2083.
Yes.
Well, we received a letter asking for an abatement of the penalties based on,
They didn't receive the bill, they said, right?
they did not receive their bill.
So, again, you know, this comes our way all the time, and unfortunately, I'm going to make the motion that we deny it, the late fees, because it's gifting water, we can't do that.
Which
so.
is a total of $27.42, correct?
Correct. So you need a second?
Further discussion?
No.
Okay, call the question?
No, you need a second.
Oh, I'll
I need
second.
a motion, a second, okay.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried, thank you. Three here, okay, wonder what happened. Yeah, sure.
Divine intervention.
I don't know.
You okay? Wasn't funny, was it?
Okay, the next order of business is we had applied for a grant, money from the Community Development Fund up in Goshen, and we received a letter on November 19th, and I'd like to quickly just review it and go through it. Dear Mayor Dwyer, I am pleased to inform you that the project listed below has been included in our 2019 Action Plan application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, for the Community Block Grant Fund. Please be advised that this is a funding reservation subject to receipt of an anticipated CDBG appropriation from HUD and a Part 58 environmental review. The project was the continuation of the Spring Street sidewalk replacement. In this case, it would be running from the AOH building, coming around the bend, right down through Carpenter and Smith to the corner, not Carpenter and Smith, but, yeah, Carpenter and Smith, down to the corner. This year, the Office of Community Development received community block grant applications requesting more than $2.9 million in funding, but only had $1.1 million to allocate for the 2019 year. Our formal application containing all municipal projects selecting for funding will be submitted to HUD in accordance with the recently issued CDBG guidance. We anticipate receiving our final 2019 funding allocation amount from HUD in May of '19, with funds becoming available for use by December of '19 pending HUD approval. Please do not commence the activities specified above until you receive a fully executed written municipal grant agreement with the county. Any funds spent on the activity listed above prior to execution of a written FY 2019 municipal grant agreement cannot be reimbursed. I wish you much success with your 2019 community development project. Sincerely, Stephen Newhouse, County Executive. So I just wanted to read that into the minutes as well. Thank you. I also, it's not on the agenda, but there's one thing I wanted to address. I met, as everybody knows, over the past several years, I've met with the council and Deputy Mayor Conklin have met with the owners of Roscoe Smith's estate. And in principle, we've come to a resolution of basically there's an offer on the table that was negotiated many years ago by Mayor Carl's administration, and coming forward from that point, we had to sit down to talk about the points of it. So I think it was a good meeting, and I think at this point, I'd like the board to authorize me to speak to council to go ahead and draft a resolution to address the terms of that agreement.
All right,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Question?
Aye.
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 Aye, so carried, thank you. Okay. I'm also going to bring up real quick, I had gotten a message from Mr. Mitz, who's here this evening, and he had asked about having a meeting, if I understood that correctly. Please, if you'd like.
I was doing a little bit excited being here, I'm sorry. I was approached by the Monroe Free Library, and on December 10th at 8 p.m., they would like to, they actually want to come out on 7 p.m., but they would like to hold their board meeting at Rest Haven and open to the public. But we weren't sure what the procedure was, being that they were a town government official, you know, and also I approached Mayor Dwyer on what the procedure would be. So not knowing what you'd want, I at least filled out the application event so you would have it. It's only about, they figure the largest they've ever had is 30, you know,
Sure.
people, but they're only figuring maybe 10 people that night. And they want to take a little quick tour of the house before they sit and have their board meeting. Interesting enough, Pat, the chairman, was my high school librarian, but don't tell anybody. But yeah, so she had asked, so that's what we weren't sure, and I had asked Mayor Dwyer what we should do for that process.
So I didn't really know, so I said, you know, let's, I wanted to say that, but I needed to,
That, okay, so as long as, you know, and, okay, great, so we're good. I'll let Pat know, and they'll be delighted to have it. Second thing, I'll get it for your next board meeting event. Well, I was contemplating on doing a Meet Santa at Rest Haven on the 22nd of December for the kids, and be open to the public, so I'll put the formal requirement through to you, Mayor, for the event application, but it's all still in the works. And I didn't know if you wanted to do something or how you do that Toys for Tot thing, but with the kids that come and get their toys or whatever, could come up and see Santa too.
I don't know how the police
We don't
department
do it.
does it, but we don't do it. It's not our,
The PBA does a Toys for Tots, and it's very,
Okay, so Monroe's just collecting them.
it's very specific in
PBA.
nature, right? They actually have to go there, and they schedule a time, and it's
Oh, okay.
It's
All right.
very,
Yeah.
right, it's very
My first time
detailed.
doing it, so you know
Yeah.
me.
that's it, no worries. So you're planning on doing it?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
planning on doing it. I just wanted to clear it with the board, you know, put it out there first. I'll submit the normal application.
What I would ask of you is to please get the application in ASAP.
I'll have it into you by Friday,
Okay, that'd be
if
awesome.
not sooner.
That's fine, because we need to give the police department and the building department the appropriate amount of time. You know, it's something that they're trying to get.
Yeah, the layout will be exactly the same as this traditional.
Yeah, I'm
event.
sure most of it, that application would probably be,
Excuse me.
mimic the prior, so.
Right.
All right, terrific.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, okay. All right, well, that's the final bit on my end of the meeting. Last night, we had an opportunity to address the New York State varsity championship soccer teams, both boys and girls, at the town board meeting, and to be able to offer them our proclamation from the town and the villages of Harriman and Monroe. And it was really well received. Everybody was really excited. It was a lot of fun to do. So I was glad that we had that opportunity to do that. That was really a cool thing. And I'm hoping that maybe there may be another opportunity where we can do something over at the school, just to kind of bring the notoriety up for this. I think it's important that we acknowledge these young people. Anyway, that's my end. Any of the trustees have anything?
Yes, I have just received confirmation that we should be receiving the Christmas ornaments that we ordered through Action in Monroe for the Quasqua Centennial. They should be arriving to Village Hall on or about Friday. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they actually do arrive on Friday. The sale of, the proceeds from these Christmas ornaments will go to fund some of the events that we have planned for the Quasqua Centennial that we're very excited about, especially our parade. And once we receive those, we'll be able to bring them to various locations throughout the village and ask some of our merchants to sell them on our behalf, as well as selling them here at Village Hall. So, and once we have the actual ornament, we'll take a picture of it, we'll post it to Constant Contact, so keep on the lookout for that.
And this Sunday, December 9th, is our Winter Festival tree lighting from 2 to 5. We will have a tent with something to keep us warm, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of warmth inside. There'll also be a bonfire, a hayride, caroling, Mr. and Mrs. Claus, hot chocolate cookies, crafts. Hopefully the weather will be good for us. If it's cool, we'll be, I guess we'll feel like we're in the winter spirit.
Right, looking forward to it. Anything else, Si?
I got nothing.
Okay. Council?
No.
Okay. Public comment?
John Carl, are you here?
Okay. Please.
In the past, we used to do great Christmas celebrations together with Smith Folk Farm.
Mm-hmm.
In the last couple of years, for some reason, that's changed.
Sure.
We are tree lighting next past. We really should look at doing all of this together. I mean, the park has been a very strong part of what we do around that time of the holidays, the year. So I think next year we should look at doing something that's joyful between the park and the village.
Just for the record, we did include you guys. We did include you. When we did the Winter Festival, we had the float parade. We ended up in the park, and we did the tree lighting and the singing. And then last year, it snowed, so we had to cancel the float parade, and we couldn't do the tree lighting, so. But yeah.
And I think we have now a year to, obviously, we can start talking now, because we have a year to, I agree, I think it'd be a nice idea if we can get the towns and the villages together.
And part of what I hope to come out of the planning of the Quasqua Centennial is that we do have a better relationship among what was, and we're hoping to resurrect the Activities Committee with the village in concert with Action in Monroe, so that there can be a little bit more cohesion and better planning between the two. So that's what I'm hoping to come out of this. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Thank you, John. Okay, if nothing further, I'd like to make a motion to go in executive session for the purposes of ongoing litigation, current litigation that we are in.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Call the question?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
night,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody attending.